Welcome along to the EXFL Tier 2 Season 8 Canadian Grand Prix. I'm F1 Union, your main commentator for tonight. And this is round 8 out of 22. We're at an overcast Montreal circuit. 12 at the moment, 2 expected to join in qualifying. Let's see who's first out onto the track. We don't know what the conditions are, if it's going to rain soon, if it's going to get more clear. But we're back after the Spanish Grand Prix, where we saw Cua take back-to-back victories. Frosty Life has now joined, that's great. We're just waiting on Cua now. Back-to-back victories to get him right into the title fight. There are roughly about 9 drivers within the span of 40 points in the top 9. Seb finishing second in last week's race, then Nick, who's not here. Callum finishing 4th, Logan 5th, Josh 6th, Sven 7th. So the top 3 of the current championship finishing 5th, 6th and 7th. Then we had James, Frosty, Warren getting his point. And yeah, Warren has a qualifying ban, so he will start last. Right. Vortex, he's back in the car. Cal gonna hopefully come back with some good results after a few weeks of pretty disappointing ones. Frosty then back in the car, looking to get some more good points on the board. Josh Hewitt, he's gonna really need to deliver this time. Canada, I'm pretty sure that's a good track of his, as he crosses the line on the mediums to begin. Don't know what's going on with the graphics. There we go. Drifting, hopefully gonna get some more points on the board too. Bluey Doggo, see what he can do. Can he make it into the top 10? Callum, who's been really strong lately. Let's see if he can do well. Maybe another pole, potentially. Cargos Blanc, he's coming into his own, helping Sven in the championship in terms of constructors. Seb, also another driver coming into his own, getting more points, ramping them up more and more. Eggy, like we said, he started off the season so strong. Podiums in the first 4 races. And then since then, he hasn't exactly looked massively confident at the front. But hopefully, sooner or later, he will be back. And Sin Icon, speaking of back, is back in the car after missing another race. Unfortunately, again, due to his Xbox Live, I think. But he's back in the car, and I'm sure he's going to be one to watch for this race. And Logan, right at the back, the championship leader. He leads the world title by 11 points ahead of Eggy, who is 6 points ahead of Hewitt, who is 7 points ahead of Cua, who is yet to join. 6 points ahead of Seb, 4 points ahead of Cal, 3 points ahead of Armano, 2 points ahead of Callum 5. Constructor standings, McLaren lead the way, only 8 points ahead of AlphaTauri. As Josh Hewitt, one of the AlphaTauri drivers, comes across the line. It is a 21.2. Yes, McLaren 8 points ahead of AlphaTauri, who are 33 points ahead of Alfa Romeo, who are 17 points ahead of Aston, who are 3 points ahead of Alpine, 7 points ahead of Haas, 4 points ahead of Merck. It's an icon. There we go. There's the first actual lap time. 11.1 on the softs. Pretty decent lap. No clue what the weather is. I will check that later. Q is doing siege. He's got his priorities in order. Vortex, oh, collision with the wall for the Alpine. He's lost his whole front wing. So he's lost it at the final chicane, and weaving in the background there. Is that Bluey? It is indeed. Right, so Vortex is going to have to come in after enduring a whole lap with no wing in the background. Coming out the pit lane is the AlphaTauri of Seb on softs this time. Four and a half minutes in, only 1 time on the board at the moment. What about Callum then? He's been great in qualifying recently. He crosses the line now. It's a 10.6 to go, half a second clear of Sin Icon. That's a really good time for the Haas driver, who over the course of 1 lap has been a star so far this season. What about Frosty Life then? 42.7 as he heads down into the hairpin. And the final sector just consists of this 1 corner and the final chicane, as Eggy pops himself just in front of Sin Icon. Cal, 3.6 off the pace. He must have messed up somewhere. Frosty then is going to fly past. And all this time, you're just waiting for that final chicane to hit you. You want to take it perfectly, just like that. And he doesn't decide to go shortest route to the line. He crosses the line. It's going to be a 1 minute 11.5, nearly a second off. But drifting invalidated. Bluey round the final corner. He's going to be a few seconds off. This should put him P5 across the line then. Yep, 3 seconds off at the moment. And it is getting sunnier, so it's not going to rain. So Seb, that's already invalid into turn 1. Massive corner cut there. Logan's still in the pit lane. Championship leader. Every single week he's at the bottom of the table. And sometimes we catch him going out, sometimes we don't. He appears there suddenly. And at the end, he's right in the fight. He's getting those consistent race results. That's why he's leading the World Championship. But he's got the pace to make sure he's not just there for the ride. 6 times on the board then. Vortex back in the pit lane. Josh now on the softs. So he'll gear up for a proper lap. Still waiting to see what the AlphaTauris can do then. Carlos Blanc has just began his lap, so into turn 1 then, just about getting away with no invalidation on the white line. The corners come at you pretty quickly the first few, and then you get to breathe a little bit before a quick chicane, diving to the right. So easy to invalidate. We're going to see a lot of time penalties, and getting the traction you need out of that chicane is vital. Heading into the end of set 199 through another chicane. Once again, traction so crucial around here. 4 in total. Heading into the third one. That's probably the best one he's done so far. Look, planted. We've seen 42s in the middle set, so he's gone at 42.5. Heavy braking into the hairpin now. Not going towards that curb. A little bit of a correction. As now DRS wide open, and you've got your sights set on the final chicane now. If you want to gain as much time as possible and completely risk it, you'll send it fully over the curbs. But if you want a nice and tidy lap, you'll take it just like that. A little bit of aggression never hurt. And yeah, he does take the shortest line to the flag, and he goes P2. Carlos Blanc getting in some solid lap times the last couple races. And at the moment, it's earned himself a front row spot, but no one can challenge Callum at the moment. But we're still waiting for some big names, such as Josh Hewitt, who is heading through the middle sector now. Invalidated, though. What about Seb? He's just entered the final sector now. I think he's on a lap. There's a... Right, Seb's crossed the line. This is a lap. It's going to be a 1 minute 10.6, but it's invalidated. And that would have put him second, only a couple hundredths off pole. So we know Seb has the pace. And what about Josh Hewitt crossing the line? Does he complete the lap? No, it's a 15.4. He didn't go through with it, because that's 5 seconds off the pace. Sin Icon then, what about him? He's going on another run. He's usually been a star qualifying. 2 poles to his name so far this season. Taking it lovely through the first chicane. Through the final corner of the first set to 2 tenths up. That's much better for the Mercedes, as he's got half a second and nearly half a tenth to gain. So he's made a right dent into the time he needs to improve. Heading in to the second chicane, taking all the curb he needs, make sure not to invalidate, staying far away from the wall on the right. Now we see the 42.5s, he's on a 41.9, he's into the 41s, and he's found even more time. So Sin Icon definitely going to challenge Callum now, who's had a comfortable half a second gap over anyone. He's also on a lap time, so we'll see Sin improve, and then we'll see what Callum can do in response. And what about the AlphaTauris? We'll see them in a minute, drifting, heading through the final corner. There's Kua then to join a bit late. Nearly over halfway into the session. Sin Icon takes the last chicane perfectly. And across the line, quick enough, a bit of grass there as the Mercedes crosses the line. It's got 10.6 to beat. He gets into the 10.6 as 11 thousandths. But Callum's on an absolute flyer across the line by nearly 2 tenths. Callum takes back provisional pole. 10.4 for the Haas. And it's great to see Callum versus Sin. Logan on his outlap. We're catching him here. And into the final chicane. The AlphaTauris both in the pit lane. Still not getting their laps in. Both of the 4 drivers in the top 2 teams at the back at the moment. Vortex left the session, so hopefully we'll be back in the car. Q is only going to be able to do 1 or 2 runs. Well, Eggy then invalidated. Drifting currently in P5 at the moment. That would be a career best qualifying as Kua is into his car now. Frosty, P6 at the moment. Eggy invalidated. Car goes long on an out lap. Right, let's see. Frosty has improved by half a tenth, but he's still about 3/10 off the pace of the top guys. But he's been really consistent so far this season, getting good points. Just sometimes beat some of the main ones, but that's a massive corner because it seems like he can get away with it as long as one of your tyres is still on track. It's just one of those corners where you can absolutely gain so much time. He's up by 4/10 now, which can really get him potentially onto the second row. Can it be the front of the second row? We'll find out how much time we can gain in the final set to the final chicane. Approaches the Aston Martin. Louis invalidated as Logan goes P3 just in front. So Frosty still has a chance here to beat Logan for P3, but can he get it onto the second row? Across the line then, it's going to be a 1 minute 11.0 and does go P3. It's very close. A 10th covers third down to 6th. And Frosty just gets ahead of Logan then. What about the AlphaTauris and the Alpines? Vortex back out, back in the session. Kua still in the pit lane. Vortex about to start his lap. What about Seb riding on board with the AlphaTauri, taking it cautiously after, remember, he invalidated that turn one on one of his runs. Not the greatest traction and exit out of 2. But now heading into the first chicane of 4. Right up to the wall on the curb. He needs it to be in the 19s, but it's a 20.0 the first sector. Sim was setting a 19.7, takes a lot of exit through the second chicane. What about Hewitt? He's heading into turn 1 now. So it's AlphaTauri's turn. Heading into the third chicane once again. Riding over the curb, exceeding what you can. But Josh Hewitt heading through the first chicane now. Takes a tighter line than his teammate. Seb, 42.5. It's a solid middle. Remember, Sim was in the 41.9s just about. So Seb lapping about half a second to 7/10 off the pace. It's going to be close. At the moment, he's finding himself in 7th. But if he can get a good final set to you, he could find himself right up in 3rd. Through the final chicane then for the AlphaTauri. It's Josh Hewitt, 42.5 as well. They're really close. Seb comes across the line. It's P8. He lost even more time. That's Drifting has now out-qualified Seb. Because remember, Seb was able to do a 10.6. So was that just a precaution lap, as I think there's enough time to go again. Q on an out lap. Vortex. He messed up somewhere. 6.4 seconds down. So Josh Hewitt then riding on board. Heading into the final chicane. Taking it lovely. Once again, being a little hesitant on the exit towards the curb. But across the line for Hewitt, it's an 11.2 to put himself P7. So AlphaTauri at the moment do not have the answer to the top 6, who are all in the pit lane since heading out to start what might be his final run. Riding on board with the Mercedes then into turn 1. Flicking it left over the curb and then hanging it round on turn 2 over and over and over. Just focusing on the exit. Getting the traction down. Through the first chicane, right on the limit, and that looks absolutely beautiful. 19.7 is what he has to beat. 19.6, he's found a couple hundredths in his bid to challenge Callum for pole. Heading into the third chicane. How much is he going to try and get away with? This time he doesn't actually go too much over. Doesn't help him in the traction even as so. Let's see, what can he improve? Yes, he's found the time he needs. He's up by 100th on Callum. Quickly check the polls. Jason 2, Seb 2. Seb's been on pole 2 of the last 3 races. Jason's been on pole in Saudi round 2 and Imola 2 races ago. Logan's had a pole to his name. Callum's had a pole to his name. Callum the McLaren has had a pole to his name. Sin Icon, can he make it a 3rd pole this season? He crosses the line, and at the moment it's provisional pole for the Mercedes by just under a 10th and a half. Now it's Callum's turn. As Drifting goes into P3. That would be a career best qualifying for the Williams. Frosty currently still ahead of Logan, who's still ahead of Carbo, who's still ahead of Eggy. What about Vortex then? He's 3.4 seconds down, but he did improve from being 6 seconds off the pace to now 1.3. We're still waiting on Kua, who's going to have 1 lap then. Yep, Sin Icon, 2 poles to his name. Callum, 1. Seb, 2, down in 9th. Logan, 1 in 5th. And Cal, 1 down in 12th. But Drifting will be very happy with that. So far, the surprise of qualifying at the moment. We have 2 minutes, just over and 30 seconds remaining. Eggy starting his final run then, with 2.5 minutes left. The Alfa Romeo needs to deliver. And if he can find just 1/10, he could find himself on the front of the second row. Pushing the limits there. This needs to be in the 19s for the first sector. It's a 19.6, and he's up by 2/10 heading in to the first of many chicanes. At the moment, getting the car where it needs to be. And it's all about the fine margins now through the second chicane. Riding on board with the Alfa Romeo. Taking the curves nice. No flick, no correction. It's going to be a 42.1. He's on the limit and he's pushing into the hairpin now. As long as he has no loss of the rear and gets a nice bit of traction on exit. It's looking like a good lap so far, but it is a make or break situation coming up for the Alfa Romeo. The final chicane. That Wall of Champions greets you. But we haven't seen anyone crash there yet. We've seen people crash on the left-hand side of Vortex. But across the line for Eggy, it's been a really good lap so far. Let's see where it puts him. A 10.9 to put him P4. He can't deny Drifting on the bottom of the second row. So at the moment, Drifting still 3rd. Cal goes up to 5th while that was happening. Such fine margins. 7,000 separates them. Cargo's Blanc is invalidated. Josh Hewitt is now just beginning his lap. Seb is about to start his lap. Vortex, we'll have to wait for him. Bluey heading into the final chicane now, down on his time. Q about to begin his lap. Let's see what he can do. Callum, all eyes on him then. He's been P1 most of the session. Sin Icon is his closest competitor. That's it for Eggy. He can't bet a P4. What about Logan heading into the first sector? He's up by 2/10 as well. This is going to get close. Sin Icon, that's it for him. He doesn't think he can improve. Callum has just began his lap then. He needs to find some time. Don't know if that was lag. Through the first chicane then. HBRQ will start P13. The winner of the last 2 races will start 13th. What about Callum? Has he found time? Yes! Over half a 10th. So this is still on. Drifting currently still 3rd. But let's see what everyone else behind them can do. Logan up by 2/10 as well. He's in the 41.9s. Logan could challenge for pole position as well. Callum looking for his 2nd of the season. Logan looking for his 2nd of the season. Let's see who can cross the line. What about the AlphaTauris then? Josh Hewitt, where can he go? It's P3 at the moment. It's a great effort from Josh Hewitt. What about Seb heading through the final chicane? What about Logan across the line? Is it pole? It's P3 for now, but it's getting ever closer. What about Seb? Is this pole for him? It's P2. He misses out by half a 10th. What about Callum? He's down by a 10th and a half, but he's got the slipstream from the Aston Martin in front. And that is Frosty who's backed out. So, what about Callum? P1 for so much of this session. He's going to give it everything as he crosses the line. So far, it's 3rd, but across the line, it's a 10.2 to beat. It's going to be a 10.6. He can't improve. Logan 4th, Callum 3rd. Seb right at the end, left it until late. P2, Sin Icon then, is on pole position. The 3rd of the season, and boy, did it get closer and closer. And by half a 10th, just out. Seb on the front row, Callum 3rd, Logan 4th, Hewitt 5th, Drifting. I believe that is a best career qualifying for him. He should be happy with that. Ahead of Eggy and Cow and Frosty. Cargo's Blanc, top 10 covered by 8/10. Vortex 11th, Bluey 12th. Q has got some work to do from 13th, but he won from 9th last week, so you never know. Warren down in 14th as he served his qualifying ban. Dry. Okay. Dry race. (19.6.8) 19.5. So Seb had quite a bit of time in the first. Sin 22.1. Seb 22.3. Yeah, Sin gained back the time in the middle. 28-4. 28-4. Yeah. So it was that middle sector of Sins that managed to excel him to pole position. And we're in for a very exciting race, hopefully. Once again, overcast, just like it was at the start of qualifying. So it'll probably get sunnier. I don't see anyone in full caps going rain. Right then, here we go. They'll be loading in, tweaking their setups, changing their race strategy, adjusting their fuel. There is 35 laps to come around here. It's an icon who won the Canadian Grand Prix 1 year ago, 2 seasons ago, in completely opposite conditions to this. Full wet weather the entire race. He led home quite the train, but he commanded the field out in front. He's a winner around Canada in EXFL Tier 2. Can he repeat it 1 year later? Well, he's on pole. He's got the tools to do it. And we are all set for the Tier 2 Season 8 Canadian Grand Prix. As the revs rise, it's Sin versus Seb as it's lights out and away we go. The Merc versus the AlphaTauri, the Merc has gotten away beautifully. Ahead of Seb, ahead of Callum on the inside, defending from Logan who tries around the outside into turn 1. Can they all keep facing forward? Yes, they can. Brilliant stuff from all of them as Bluey goes off there onto the grass a little bit. That drops him down to last. Sin Icon then making it a Mercedes sandwich with everyone in between. Vortex versus Callum for Knight going off there onto the grass. His car goes blong. And a little bit of a slide there between the McLaren and the Alpine as Q is up to 10th into the second sector for the first time. And they've all managed to keep it facing forward. Brilliant stuff for the second week in a row, I believe, Tier 2. As, yeah, Bluey got onto the grass there. That allows Warren up to 13th. Frosty down in 12th. Cal down in 11th. The two Alpines close together. Cargo's Blong struggling as he lets Drift and get away on the back of Eggy. Josh, Callum, Logan did get ahead of Callum into third then, the championship leader. And Seb keeping Sin Icon hot on his heels. So biggest gainer at the moment, 3 places, is Kua from 13th up to 10th. Biggest loser at the moment is unfortunately Callum and Frosty Life down in 12th and 13th. Eggy right on the back of Josh, nearly hitting him, does hit him through the chicane. Let's have a look at tyres as Warren and Bluey are fighting. And there's a move. The two Alpines, Vortex versus Kua. So close to contact as he hangs it round the outside. And Vortex just defending on Q. He's not letting him go. That's allowing Cow to have a little look on both of them. So Vortex not letting his teammate get ahead. Kicking up some grass there. That's going to allow Q to get a switch back and nearly get taken out as the Alpines are really going for it here. Cow watching this unfold, and Vortex is going to be, Q is going to be fuming that his teammate is not playing the team game here in the early stages. So yeah, both Alpines, Eggy, Logan and Sin Icon starting on the mediums, everyone else on the hard compound tyres. Josh seems to have dispatched Eggy a little bit, and now he's on the back of Callum. Does he try it to the inside? Not quite. He'll wait until DRS is enabled in 1 lap time. As it's still a DRS train, at least for the top 6, drifting just outside of it under pressure from Cargo's Blong. And Warren and Bluey at the back at the moment, still trying to maintain their pace. No sorts of moves at the moment. Sin Icon nearly outside of a second of Seb, considering he's on the better tyre. Cal versus Kua then into the final chicane, and nearly into the wall is Kua, who's going to lose 2 places there as a result of fighting Cal, as Frosty benefits from that. Does he try a move to the inside? Not quite. But yeah, something happened between Cal and Kua there. And Kua's got to do it all over again nearly. The race winner for the last 2 races, currently down in 12th. Shows how quickly things can change in Tier 2. 3 races in for Kua's career, 65 points with 2 wins and a P3 at the moment. He's running down in P12 in his 4th race. Can't quite get the move done at the moment on Frosty. Seb's still sticking with Sin. And yeah, at the moment they're all behaving pretty well. No crashes, no VSCs, no safety cars. Yep, 35 laps in then, so it's going to be a medium, hard, medium. But Sin, just like 1 year ago, leading them away. Seb, he's one to deploy a lot of his battery. He's one to not really have that much compared to others towards the end. So he needs to save it. He's got the same as Sin Icon, essentially. Logan's got 20% more. Callum's burning a lot. Josh Hewitt's burnt everything nearly. As Q gets past Frosty then, down into turn 1. The Alpine round the outside, now planting in front. And Callum, he's lost positions to both of them. So it's how they were before that thing into the final corner happened. Bluey gets a penalty, same with Warren. So, don't know what happened there. But whatever the case, Q has lost 2.5 seconds to his teammate who's on the back of Cargo's Bong. DRS activated as Vortex has spun. And he's lost some of his front wing. So just like he did in qualifying at the end of the lap, I think if he's not got damage, that's a lucky escape. But that is a mistake for the Alpine, who's struggling to get it turned. Might not be visible, but he may still have like lime damage. So Seb, now with the DRS, half a second to Sin Icon. And they're just trailing one another. Does Seb try a move? Remember, this race is going to be all about the 3-second time penalties towards the end, because this track is so easy to get one. And Seb not quite close enough for a move. Anyone else further behind? Eggy's in a bit of no man's land at the moment. He's trailing, drifting along with him a bit as Warren gets past Vortex, who's into the pits. Right, get rid of that. Don't need the grid. There's no problems with the start. So yeah, Vortex pits for a new wing. Yeah, he did have damage then. Seems like the exit of this corner is one they're all struggling with. Top 5 currently in a DRS train. Eggy trying to get ahead of drifting. Cargo's Blong. He's in a bit of no man's land actually. As Q is going to hunt him down hopefully. Right, did last week's stream save? As going off there is Frosty Life. That allows Cal to get ahead. Made a mistake there. This is Spain, right? Yeah, Spain, Miami. Wait, that's Miami. That's him. Yeah, okay, cool. Stream saved. Right, get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Right. Can look at the chats now. Right, Frosty on the back of Cal. Cal goes defensive to the inside. That allows Frosty to get better momentum, but he hasn't taken the chicane as much as he would want to. Very poorly at the moment. Yeah, Cal 1.8 to Q. The gap staying constant between Q to Cargo's Blong. Seems like race pace is pretty even between a lot of the grid, which is great. But yeah, the top 5, Hewitt not saving any. Callum same. Logan, he's saving some. Seb, he saved a few percents. Sin Icon's used a bit. Seb 54, Sin 46. Warren gets another time penalty. It's going to really hurt him in the long run. If there's a safety car towards the end, he is not going to get any points. Sin Icon saying his best in time trial was a 10.8 and pole was a 10.4 or something. But anyway, he's happy with his qualifying as Drifting's making a move on Eggy then. Down the inside of the hairpin. Can he make it stick? As he is the one with DRS and he is slightly ahead. So with the DRS and using his ERS, will get ahead of Eggy up in a P6. And if you can hold on to that towards the end, that would be a brilliant points result for the Williams, who has been in these sorts of positions, maybe 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th before, but towards the end, like Imola, for example, there have been unfortunate collisions or mistakes. Crashed in Spain, caused the safety car, so if he can just make it to the end and endure, he'll be on for some good points. But the Alfa Romeos at the moment getting beaten by both Alfa Tauris, one of the McLarens, Cal. Once again, it was looking like such a promising start after getting pole in the opening race, beating Logan, who we all thought was going to be the lead McLaren. And while our thoughts have come true over the past few races, this is a great shot. Yeah, it's unfortunate to see Cal drop off as much as he has at the moment, but hopefully he'll be back. He did miss a race or so as well. Frosty currently not in the points too, but this is a great scrap for the top 5. They're not leaving each other's sights, and they're staying like this because the more you look forward, the bottom 2 have no ERS, the top 2 have better ERS, and the middle one is just preserving his time. Oh, Sin Icon making a bit of a mistake there as Eggy gets back ahead of Drifting. Does he hang it round? Yes, he does, but he has to back off. No sorts of contact. Eggy right on the limit there. That brings Eggy's teammate back into play. He's right on the back of Drifting. Will he try and move around the outside? They're going to go wheel to wheel. Slight contact between Wheel and Sipod. Drifting cuts the corner there to stay in front of the Alfa Romeo, but he's got better traction, and they're banging wheels now heading through the first chicane. And who's going to back out? Do they really go side by side through the chicane? No, Cargos Blanc is the bigger man. He backs off and has to try another time. That allows Cure to gain on the pair of them. So yeah, we saw Sin Icon heading up to the line there on the grass nearly. And it is going to be interesting for safety cars because let's look at tyres. Logan and Sin are on the mediums. The other three are on the hard. So they're going to pit before. And the hard runners are going to go long. Seb's doing well here, sticking behind. Eggy's left drifting a little bit there, so he's become vulnerable to Cargos Blanc and Cure. Cow, again, no man's land. Same with Frosty, who's Frosty's lost some end plate. As Drifting versus Cargos Blanc into the final chicane there. And that's another Alfa Romeo as he has the DRS-22 pull away. And does Cure try and move to the inside? Not quite close enough as he is flashing. He's using everything he has as Drifting really holding him up, just lets him go. Completely gets out of the way as Frosty's into the pits to change that front wing. As Seb right on the back of Sin Icon, the top 5 getting ever closer to one another. 1.6 seconds covers them all, and it's been like this the entirety of the first single-digit laps. Frosty putting softs on, interesting, as Bluey right in front of him gets ahead on the medium compound tyres. Vortex, what about him? Has he set the fastest lap? No. That goes to Logan. Yeah, so we can see as Drifting gets a penalty now. You can see the top 5, 13.7, 5.3, 5.4. It's very close. Josh Hewitt doesn't have the quite near of pace to the top 4, but he's hanging along with, and he's having to use his ERS. As we could see a change in leadership here. Seb versus Sin Icon, and Seb now takes the lead into the final chicane to start the double-digit lap. Sin Icon struggling a little bit, but it's a change of leadership. And in the background, do we see Josh trying to have a go on Callum? Will he try a send to the inside? No, he's going to stay behind the Haas for now, making sure to not squabble and lose the potential of DRS. Sin Icon really struggling on exit now, and he's going to be holding up Logan, who may still have some tyre life left in his mediums. Round the outside, Logan tries. Sin Icon now gets a penalty because of corner cutting. And Logan just playing his part at the moment. Sin Icon then, after 9 laps in the lead, loses it, and that's going to allow Seb to pull away. Sin Icon and Seb level ERS. It's Logan nearing 100%, saving his ERS beautifully at the moment. Bit of a battle here between Frosty and Bluey. Frosty getting back ahead of Bluey's. Josh now gets a penalty. Frosty then stays ahead of Bluey, and on those softs he should be able to pull away. He has the pace. Vortex managed to be 7.2 ahead of Frosty. So all that fighting helped, especially after Vortex had to change his wing. Yes, Frosty had to as well. So he would have come out pretty much where the Alpine was. Warren in no man's land. Cal, he's caught up to the back of Drifting, who is struggling now. Cure on the back of Cargos Blanc. Riding ball with the Alpine. It's getting a bit clearer. Top 5 still within DRS of one another. No changes. Seb has used all his ERS. He had 40. Where's that all gone? As Sin back down to 25 as well. Logan's used a little bit. Cal nearly in the under 10%. Same with Josh. Cal versus Drifting. Drifting's going to try and hang around the outside. Cal has better momentum to get the place. Drifting's still going to show himself that he's there, but Cal is ahead of the Williams, who's going to politely tap him in the back a little bit. And will he try any sort of move into the first chicane? He's going to have to hang back for now as Cal is up into 9th. Cure right on the back of Cargos Blanc. Eggy, unfortunately, due to the train DRSing one another, has left him in the dust here. Cure right on the back of Cargos Blanc. Does he try and move with the little ERS he has left? Cargos Blanc, we know he can be defensive when he needs to. Little bit of contact, just about enough space left between the two. And he's just having to back off there because James was going to put him right in the wall if he couldn't let him side by side. Is he helping Eggy? You never know. What about the top 5 then? Still as they were. So does Kua try anything? He's not close enough to Cargos Blanc at the moment. Losing the rear a bit there. Has taken way too much curb. As in the background there, Cal trying to get away from drifting. Frosty really eating into Vortex's gap. As Warren gets another penalty. Kua all over the back of Cargos Blanc. Does he try a send here? Not quite. He's going to wait until DRS. Cargos Blanc. Well, I said we can see him as aggressive. That was definitely an aggressive defense. Does he try? Is he close enough to the inside this time? Bluey Doggo's out in the pit lane, and this time Kua has the position as Cargos Blanc decides to see what metal tastes like on his left tyre. So Kua's up into 7th, and Sin Icon has been gapped by a second at the moment, but he still has the DRS somehow before the detection. So Bluey, first retirement on lap 12. It's drifting versus Cal into the hairpin. Drifting must have sent it there. And he's back up in a night. So Sin back up within the DRS. And it's lap 12, lap 13 now, and the mediums are surely going to be wearing off soon as Cargos Blanc gets back ahead of Kua on the mediums as well. So yeah, the hards are going to come into their own. And with DRS, Cargos Blanc will stay ahead. With so much more ERS, he can pretty much toy with Kua a little bit. Sin Icon's caught back up with Seb. You can see he's flashing. Yeah, the top 5. Barely any ERS for any of them apart from Logan. He's doing a really good job so far. Frosty now gets penalty. Wait. Oh wait, no, yeah. Bluey retired. So we're going to see pit stop soon. Pit stop window is open. As Kua and Cargos Blanc in P7 and 8. Wheel to wheel through the second chicane. Losing ever more time to the ones in front, but they're wheel to wheel. Who's going to get the DRS then? It's going to be Cargos Blanc. As yeah, Kua has got nothing to defend, and Cargos Blanc will surely get him again unless Kua can get a good enough exit. And yeah, Cargos Blanc is going to use his battery. What about the leaders? Who pits? Sin Icon and Logan, both of the medium runners. That's to be expected. What about Eggy? As Cargos Blanc clears past Kua, Eggy stays out. Cargos Blanc, Kua, does he dive into the pits? No, he stays behind Cargos Blanc again. He's got a really good run, but Cargos Blanc has the DRS. Does Kua try anything? Into turn 1. Sin Icon on the hard. Same with Logan. They follow out in formation. There goes Drifting and Cal. Does Cal try the outside? He's gone to the grass nearly. He's lost complete control, and the McLaren is round. Bit silly from Cal there, but there wasn't really much room either. So Logan's teammate spins around as Logan sees him in his mirrors. Cal continues. Right, AlphaTauri 1-2 here. Seb ahead of Josh, who has got ahead of Callum while that was happening. Cargos Blanc staying ahead of Kua, not letting him out of his sight. Drifting is going to come under pressure from Sin Icon soon, as they're going to have to pit soon. Medium runners, Kua and Eggy. So they're next to be expected. AlphaTauri really need help here. If there's a safety car VSC now, they could really benefit from it. And Cal, if they do both box, he could get a move or two. Can't quite get ahead of Josh at the moment. Eggy will surely pit. He surely will not. Cargos Blanc staying ahead of Kua. And Sin Icon gets ahead of Drifting. Pretty easy move there. Drifting, I 100% bet he'll move out of the way for Logan. Yep, as Seb gets a time penalty. That's going to affect his race, as both AlphaTauris do have a penalties. Cal 5 set for speeding. And yeah, that's unfortunately the end of his race once again. So then there were 12. Logan just outside of a second. We're talking thousandths here off Sin Icon, as another DRS is going to come up. So Sin Icon getting his foot down, using his ERS. Logan can use his ERS like he is now to try and get back within. At the moment he needs to find another 10th. The gap between Sin to Seb is 15.3. Remember, Seb will be on the quicker medium compound tyres and hunt the drivers down, but he needs that ERS benefit like Logan has at the moment. Fastest lap is Logan still, 11 thousandths ahead of Sin. So it just shows how close they are. But Sin is going to gain on Cargo's Blanc in front of him as Hewitt is in. So he's done 16 laps on those hards. And he's going to try and do 20 laps on mediums. Okay. Interesting. Cargo's Blanc seems like he's going to hold up Sin a bit. This is great news for Logan. Josh Hewitt coming out of the pit lane now. Where will he come out into? There goes Drifting. There is Josh. It's going to be close between the two. Josh around the outside. There's Drifting. Drifting seems like he'll get ahead, but Josh on the newer tyres. Drifting knows there's no point being ahead. And he lets Josh into 7th. And Logan's right on the back of Cargo's Blanc, who has been overtaken by Sin Icon. So Cargo's Blanc going to be a bit of a hindrance for Logan, who you can just tell the new tyres versus old tyres. Q are now 3 second as Logan is going to use a bit of his ERS, but Blanc is defending as he hits the wall there again. It's really messing Logan up. Look how Sin Icon's pulled away, and Logan's going to be absolutely fuming. And Cargo's Blanc really defending when he doesn't need to. It's not really his race. Logan sends it, but that's way too deep. Aggression and anger consuming Logan to lose him even more time. And yeah, that was quite silly from him, as Josh is already on the back of him. As that's really let Sin Icon breathe now. What about the leaders? Cal's in. Seb stays out once again. So Eggy on those mediums. He's putting in a right stint. 17 laps on the yellow striped tyre. And Blanc versus Logan. This time Logan into turn 1. Don't think Blanc has much to defend. And this time Logan is ahead. But now he's lost 2 seconds to his main rival in this race. And now Josh is all over the back, pretty much pushing Blanc through the corners. Does Josh try to the inside, or was he going to back out? He's again pushing him. Now he makes the move and nearly spinning Blanc, but he had to make that desperate call, but gets a 3 second in doing so. Was that worth it? Could he have waited? Whatever the case, just look how Blanc is so slow when he's not holding up them. Yeah, it's his right to defend if he wants to, but it's completely ruining those racers in front who he's nowhere near. But anyway, Eggy yet to pit. Same with Seb. The gap was 15 seconds. Now it's down to 11. So Josh has to do 20 laps on those mediums. If I was Logan, I would let Josh go because I know I'd get him back later, surely. Those tyres are going to drop off a lot. So Seb stays out again. Eggy, does he come in? No. These two gambling. Are they waiting for some sort of safety car? Josh does get ahead of Logan then. And Logan will just have to stick with the AlphaTauri on those quicker mediums. He's using everything he has. And hopefully he'll be his ticket to gain on Sin Icon. Then fastest lap of the race for Josh Hewitt, I believe. Yep. Drifting into the pit lane then. That's Q going by on the hards. Warren under pressure from Frosty Life is all over the back of him, down the inside. It's a very tight line and Warren allows himself to get back ahead because of that. I think Vortex has just pitted again. Or he's been overtaken by these guys. Probably been overtaken actually. So Warren into the points, but with 12 seconds of pens, not going to get any at the moment. Eggy going to come to pressure from Sin Icon. Eggy going to be a whole pit stop behind at the moment. Cal gets ahead of Cargo's Blanc. Easy move for him. He's lost out some time to the guys in front. Remember, Cal, Logan, Josh, Sin and Seb are all in a 5-car DRS train. At the moment, Sin is 1.6 seconds ahead of Josh. He's really gaining on him, but Sin with DRS will gain on Eggy. Eggy trying to break the toe here. Is Eggy going to come into the pit lane, or is he going to stay out one more lap and cause some botherance? Bother to Sin. He's going to come in. Let Sin go away, and that's a 3 sec. That's another 3 sec for Sin. Forgot about penalties at the moment. Logan, it's one of his greatest strengths to not get time penalties. Blanc speeds into the pit lane. Seb pitted as well. Same with Eggy. They'll both pit onto, well, Eggy on the hards, Seb on the mediums. Then where does he come out then? In front of him is Callum. Seb leading this race and out of the top 5 who've now all pitted. He is at the bottom of the train, but he's on the newest rubber, the quickest rubber. It's going to hopefully gain on Callum, who's also on the mediums. But remember, it's only Logan and Callum without penalties. August Blanc exits the pit lane in P11 then. There's Frosty Life in front of him. And there's Warren. Vortex, Warren, Frosty, and then Blanc. Q, has he pitted yet? Yeah, he did. 4 laps ago onto the hards. So considering all the time he's lost in this race, he's not a million miles off the top 5. 6 seconds, as that's right up against the wall. The only person to not pit so far is Warren. 19 laps on those hards. Right then, 6 seconds for the top 2. Josh almost within a second of Sin. They've had their fights this season, a few battles, a few words as well, but I'm sure there's still good respect between them. As yeah, Josh is going to have to fight the Mercedes, but Logan, as long as he stays within 6 seconds of the 2, he's going to walk away with another win, which is really going to help his championship, with the closest competitor of Eggy down in 7th. At the moment, Josh will probably get ahead of him. He needs to outscore him by 6 points, so it's going to be close. And yeah, Callum, if he can stick along with the ride, if he could let Seb go and hope Seb brings him along, then Callum could also be on for a good podium, maybe. As you can see, Callum, 8% less than Seb, who saved a bit. Seb with so much more traction. Pulls out, right onto the grass nearly. Callum lets him go. And that's the detection point, so I think Seb may have got it. So we're going to find out. Yep, Seb did get it. So that's going to have to make Callum use a bit of his ERS. They're both flashing as they're trying to gain on Logan. Seb, yeah, 1.6 off the McLaren. As Josh now gaining on the back of Sin Icon. They're all using their ERS. Once again, Logan, the only one with some decent amount. And Josh just has to wait a bit, but Seb, fastest lap of the race, 12.5 now. He's really pushing. And they are leaving 6th onwards. Kiwo, who won the last 2 races. Eggy was the championship leader for so much of this season. Drifting is on for good points. At the moment, we've got a yellow flag, and it's Warren. But he carries on. Yeah, no safety car VSC so far this race. 21 laps in. Look at the tyres once more. Right, so Josh has to go 20 laps on those mediums. It's going to be an almighty stint, as we're going to see a change of leadership. Sin seems fine to carry on to the end, as Warren... Oh, no. Where is he? Oh, my God. Once again, causing yellows, but no loss to the wing. Right, Hewitt gaining and gaining and gaining on Sin. Does he try it into the final chicane? Yes, he does. Sin carries it on wheel to wheel for the lead. He hits Sin. Sin has to go across. And Sin, who could have just backed off there, decided to hang it round 1 once again with the yellows, and he's caused a safety car. The hazard strikes again. He's lost his whole front wing. And on a 20 lap hard compound tyres, I guess you can't really blame it, but that does strike a complete new twist to this race. Sin's going to be complaining. And yeah, now we could see some more pit stops. Right then, first safety car of the race on lap 22 of 35. 2/3 of the way in, essentially. And what do they do? So one retires, great. That brings them all back into play, mainly Eggy as well. They could all pit for mediums. I think as a drifting drive-through under speeding under safety car, that's going to really affect his race. As yeah, surely they'll all pit for mediums, as Seb might lose out here because they have to double stack. What is going on here? Oh no, Warren, oh no. Eggy drive-through. Wait, was that just lag? That might have just been lag. Oh, okay. Look, okay. Phew, I think. Kua stays out because he pitted a lap before, and this brings Kua right into it. I think that was lag. But whatever the case, it hasn't really changed much. Callum, Eggy, drifting. It's because of Warren's car, and they all stopped, but then it could have just been lag, I don't know. Anyway, Josh Hewitt once again just deciding to go long on a tyre that shouldn't go that long. On the soft compound tyres, same with Eggy. Everyone else on mediums. Q on one lap, he pitted one lap before. Same with Blong. So the strategies are completely gone out the window there. Sin saying I was not trying to battle that one bit, Josh. Don't know why he didn't back out more then. If you had done it on the straight, I wouldn't have... Right, so Eggy has a drive-through, and hopefully he knows he cannot serve that under safety car. Same with drifting, same with Vortex. I don't think there's any love lost between them. They're laughing about it, I think. Keyword, I think. Right, so Eggy, Drifting and Vortex are going to be at the back. This invites Cargo's Blong to gain some more places, and Frosty. As Eggy, Drifting and Vortex will be 11th, 10th and 9th. Callum, once again, will benefit. Same with Logan. No changes to his race at the moment. He just has to stay out of trouble. Alright, Logan's on 2 warnings. What about Callum? Well, that's interesting. Both Callum and Logan are both on 2 warnings, so one more in the final 11 and a bit laps, and they join the 3-second brigade. What about Cargo's Blonde? Let's quickly check him. Alright, so the 3 who are not on, who have not got any penalties, are all on 2 warnings. Josh Hewitt then will lead them away pretty early, pretty standard. One by one then, they will trail as Q is right on the back of Seb. What's happened there? A little bit of contact between the Alpine. That's allowed Callum to get the greatest run across the line, down the inside. Goes the Haas versus the Alpine. Callum has to cut across to make sure he doesn't get spun there. May have fallen under a bit of pressure, thinking that Q may have done something. But at the moment, Josh Hewitt leads out on the softs. Ahead of Sin Icon, 8/10 versus Logan. Then Seb, who looked like he broke, but I don't know, maybe Kua just... there was a bit of contact. Kua, then Callum, then Eggy, then Drifting, then Blong, then Frosty, then Vortex, 3 of which have to serve their drive-thrus. Preferably they should get it done this lap in case there's any more safety cars. Seb, another 3-second time penalty to join his teammate and Sim with 6 seconds. Kua once again could benefit from penalties and see himself on a podium, which would make it 4 out of 4 and carry on his 100% record, considering he started down in 13th. He seems to be lucky with this so far. And yeah, the Callum, don't know how he didn't get a warning for cutting that. But as long as one tyre stays on, I guess you're fine. Right, Eggy, does he serve his drive through? What's going on here? Eggy versus Drifting. And Cal, I don't know what happened there. Eggy spins round. Josh Hewitt fastest lap. Vortex serves his drive through. Eggy, does he have to cut across? No, he's going to carry on for one more lap. There was contact, not quite sure with who. And that spun him round. Drifting and Vortex served theirs, so Eggy, they were fully into the chicane, so it's not like he was trying to go straight forward and... oh, going off there, Vortex! Going straight on there. Was he in control of his car? Was he paying attention? Not sure. He's lost some of his wing now. Right, looking further to the front. Frosty on the back of Blong. Or at least within DRS. Kira on the back of Seb still. Josh Hewitt has left Sin Icon. And if you can get a big enough gap, you never know. Josh Hewitt, who won the opening round, still trying to fight for that world title that he so unfortunately lost out on 2 years ago. Since round 1, he hasn't really been at the front fighting for the wins. And if he has, the penalties have really affected him. To settle for 4th. There's Sin Icon in the background there. Smacking the wall of champions a little bit. And this is going to be interesting to see what the outcome of this race will be. Well then, Hewitt, 1.4 seconds ahead of Icon, 1.1 ahead of Logan, who's 1.1 ahead of Seb, who's 6/10 ahead of Kira. ERS-wise, once again, Logan is just being sensible with his ERS, not blasting it. But Callum, yeah, he's used all of it. Blong, 21. Frosty, he's doing all right. Drifting 3 set, Eggy 3 set, Vortex 3 set. He's in again to change his wing. Can he actually be in control this time heading down into turn 1? That's a yes. Well then, just how long can Hewitt softs last as Sin not a million miles outside of DRS from the AlphaTauri? Remember, this is for position. The top 5, they're all fighting for position besides Logan. He is comfortably going to win the race at the moment. As long as he doesn't get... If he gets 1 warning and gets the 3 sec, there is a few question marks, but at the moment he is fine. Hewitt, another time penalty. And that's going to be really bothering him now. And once again, just like I said, he's lost out on some good points due to time pens. And this race could be another one to add to that list. Callum 1.5 behind. He's dropping off these lot. Cargo's Blong. P7 at the moment. And he could still gain some good points from 4 in front who have pens. Eggy, who could have gained quite a bit, but due to that drive through and the spin, is down in P10 at the moment. 1 point to his name. So I think even with 9 sets, Josh will be ahead of Eggy after this in the standings to be runner-up. Currently, but you never know with Sin and Seb gaining ground and Callum too. We said there was 9 drivers fighting for the world title at the moment. Well, Cal is one of them, and Frosty is another, and considering Logan's best in Cal at the moment, it doesn't seem like Cal's going to be too close for now as Cargo's Blong caught that, gets the penalty. And Frosty, I'm sure he'll get some decent points more and maybe even a win or podiums. But the championship might just be a bit out of his reach at the moment. We're only a third of the way in to the season, so you never know. So that leaves 7 of the 2 AlphaTauris. Callum, Kua. 2 AlphaTauris, Callum, Kua, Sin. Who are the other 2? Eggy. As Logan now gets his penalty, I'll think about that later. But now, if there is a safety car, Callum is in prime position here. Logan gets his 3rd. Track limits warning then as Seb is right on the back of him with no ERS. But he's close enough with the DRS to have an attack at the McLaren. We're going to have 5 laps to go soon. Q has nothing left. They're all getting closer and closer. Josh is actually leaving Sin Icon a bit here, who's struggling. And if they battle enough, if Josh didn't have 9 seconds, you never know. And you never know who's actually going to try and get a pen removed and stuff after the race. But for now, 5 laps to go. Hewitt, that's probably another warning. Sin, that's definitely a warning, because that earns him 9 seconds too. And Callum, how far is he off the lead? 5.1. Callum H. We ran the quote-unquote Monaco Grand Prix. He did absolutely everything right. Took quote-unquote pole, took the quote-unquote win, led, I think, quote-unquote every single lap. And then it got taken away from him. And he had a chance last week in Spain. It didn't work. He came 4th. Could he get the redemption he needs? Could Callum get his first actual EXFL Tier 2 win at Canada. Because at the moment, he is looking like he's going to win this Grand Prix as long as he doesn't get a 3-set. If he gets a 3-set, it's back to Logan. And maybe staying 1.5 seconds off this slot isn't such a bad idea. But he needs to be as close as possible to Logan, really. And considering they're so close from 2nd down to 5th, something's going to happen. And Logan makes the first something happen. Down into P2, he goes into turn 1. And Sin Icon drops behind. 2 seconds to Josh, who's just going to try and gap as much as he can on the softs. Kyo has used all he can, really. And yeah, good move from Logan. He picked his moment when he had to. And he's now at the front of the train. Yeah, let's keep it on leader. He needs to be 3 seconds ahead of Callum. And at the moment, the gap is 2.7. So this is going to be really close. If Logan wants to work with Sin and DRS one another, because Callum isn't quite with them lot, that could give him the victory. But at the moment, it is close. We're talking 3/10 here between Logan to Callum. Callum has the 3/10 at the moment to win the Grand Prix. And now it's 3 seconds. And now it's 2.6. And it's changing all the time. And it's going to be very close. But there's a 4-car battle for P2 at the moment. They're gaining on Hewitt. Blong and Frosty a bit far from one another. Drifting in no man's land. Eggy, he's just going to have himself a 10th at the moment. Vortex at the moment 11th. Into lap 32. Sin, does he drop down one more place to Seb, who's on 6 seconds at the moment? He will beat Sin Icon. And he will beat his teammates, 2.1 behind. So Seb still on for maybe a potential podium of P3, because the top 2 will definitely be Logan and Callum at the moment. Callum, 2.7 behind Logan. Let's look at fastest laps real quick. Callum lapping 12.8s, Logan lapping 12.8s as well. This is so close between Callum and Logan, the championship leader versus Callum, who's trying to get his first actual win in EXFL Tier 2. And wouldn't it be great to see a fortnight later him get his redemption that he needs, the 25 points. Josh Hewitt so far is going to get the fastest lap, the only one in the 11s at the moment, so that's a good extra point for him. But with the 9 seconds, that's really going to affect him. 4.5, Logan 1.2. At the moment, it's swung back to Logan. 3.3 seconds as Logan is hunting down Josh. And Logan with the DRS on Josh that will soon come probably. Could give him the win as well, because it's going to give him the DRS and the impotence he needs. So Callum needs to get a move on, but with 3%, what can he do? He needs to hope these lot in front battle, or he needs to hope Sin Icon strikes a charge on the McLaren. We're on the 3rd last lap. Logan not quite close enough for DRS yet, but he's got 37%. Look at his peers around him. Nothing. I swear if you add all the percentages up, they're not enough to equal Logan's yet. Logan, championship leader, as Sin goes wide there, and that's another penalty for him, making mistakes. There goes Seb, as Sin lets him go. And it's getting from bad to worse for the Mercedes. Q now on the back of Sin Icon. Callum, 3.5 at the moment. At the moment, Logan is going to take home the win. He's going to be the first driver to enter triple digits in the World Championship points tally. He's gaining on Josh. He's going to have the DRS. There's the detection point. They've just gone past. Seb needs to stick within 3 seconds of his teammate, and at the moment, he's comfortably in it. Sin Icon, he's going to be 6th, maybe even 7th at the end of this. Nah, he'll be 6th. Due to 12 seconds of unfortunate penalties. Callum, 3.3, drifting yellow. That's Vortex at the back, that's fine. No chance of a safety car. Into the final chicane. We're on to the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. Logan, I'm sure he would like to win this on track. I'm sure Josh would love to win this on track, even if he's not going to get the victory. So, how safe does Logan play it? Because he knows if Josh holds Logan up, Callum could get the victory. At the moment, it's close enough there. It's Sin Icon. And he could still fight for points, but at the moment, yeah, he's just given up. He could have still fought for some good points. And that's going to promote everyone else up into the points. So Vortex will get one. Callum, 3.9. Logan, 5 cents. It's 3.3 at the moment. Callum is within the DRS, though, of Kua now. So could Kua be the secret ingredient to bring Callum back into the fight for this win? It's 3.2 now. And if Josh holds Logan up, you never know. But Logan could use all his ERS here because Josh has half of it. And what do? Logan is using a little bit. Josh not touching it at the moment. DRS open for Logan. Riding on board with the McLaren. Josh is now using all he can to stay ahead of Logan. Callum gets ahead of Cure. So he's up in a fourth now. And Logan being held up by Josh Hewitt. We're on to the final lap. It's Logan in second versus Callum in fourth. At the moment, it swings back to Callum. Cure now, another penalty. Callum, at the moment, is within chance of winning his first Grand Prix. But it is a 10th between Logan and Callum, and it's going to be so close to the line. Logan needs to get past Josh, and if Josh on those dying softs holds up Logan enough, Callum could be seeing his way onto the top step of the podium, because at the moment the gap's 2.5 and the gap's going down ever more. And if Seb wants to stop Logan from getting more points on McLaren and himself, he will slow down and help Callum. But at the moment he's 1.2 ahead. Logan 2/10 behind at the moment. Oh, it's so close. We're talking 1/10 here. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Callum in the house? Is it going to be Logan in the McLaren? Logan looking for his second win of the season. Callum looking for his first win of his Tier 2 career. Logan will surely give it everything to overtake Josh now heading into the final chicane on the final corner. Josh using everything he has to defend Logan. Logan has saved his ERS the whole race, and this time he's going to mount the attack on Josh Hewitt into the final chicane on the final lap of the Grand Prix. Does Josh try anything round the outside? No. Logan takes the lead into the final chicane, but is it going to be the Grand Prix win as Josh gets a penalty? There's Callum round the final corner. Is it Logan or is it Callum across the line? Here comes Callum. Is it first or second? Callum wins the Grand Prix of Canada by half a second. Callum redeems himself. He's the race winner for Haas. Logan P2, Seb P3, Josh P4, Q 5th. Callum's done it a fortnight later after he got his victory taken away. Voided in Monaco. He's back at the top step of the podium. He's got his win back. And Kua, I think that's a glitch. Drifting comes over 8, good points. Yeah, I think Kua got the DNF glitch. I'm sure that'll get reinstated. So Frosty came home 6th at the end because of Cargo's Bungs Pens. Eggy will come home 9th. And Vortex 10th. All the finishers, quote unquote, because again, Q had the glitch. All the finishers will get points. Nice. And well done to Callum. Told you this race was going to be about not getting penalties. He was the only one not to get one. And he's got his victory. There we have it. What a race. Look at that. Everyone with a penalty and the one who doesn't wins the Grand Prix. 16 thousandths between Callum and Logan's fastest lap. It was so close. But it came down to that last lap of how much Josh on those dying softs held up Logan. And I'm sure Callum must have been feeling the pressure to not get that other penalty. That other warning to gift him a penalty. A very long race direct here. It's unfortunate I can't interview Callum because he's on thingy. I can interview Logan and maybe Seb. But yeah, what a great race. Right, we got second and third in the party. Oh my god. Right, we will start with third then. Right, Seb, are you there, mate?
Hello, hello, hello.
Have you
I think I've included my audio.
include your audio? Great. Right, P3, another podium, solid points for the team. But from your perspective, how did that race go for you, and how
My
do you feel?
fingers hurt.
Your fingers hurt.
Yeah. I mean, I got home. I got in bed, fell asleep. Remembered I got EXFL. Got up. Did zero practice. Stuck at P2. And then yeah. If the safety car didn't come out, I think I could have won it on strategy. Because I paid like 5 laps later than most people.
Yeah, you were probably the one most affected because yeah, you waited after everyone to pit on the mediums, and then you were gonna be really quick towards the end.
Yeah.
How are penalties?
Eh, I mean, it's what's gonna happen when you do zero practice and you barely know how strict the things are.
But yeah, anyway, it's another good haul of points for the team.
Yeah.
I remember last week I think you said you listened to the stream, right?
Uh, I had the stream up, but I didn't have
Yeah.
it. I didn't have it on. Like I didn't have the audio on.
I was mentioning like for the benefit of whoever was listening to the stream, I was like, so this guy has this much ERS, and if this guy wants to help this guy, he has to
Okay.
back off, give DRS. So if you, because it was unsure at the time, obviously Callum did win in the end, but if you had backed off, you could have given Callum DRS to get closer to Logan, so Logan didn't win and stuff like that. I was thinking of all like the different kind of scenarios.
I kind of wanted Logan to win because obviously I'm friends with Logan. We're in a party.
But you're fighting him for the world championship as well as
It makes it more fun.
Yeah.
Where does that put me
P3.
and Josh in the constructors that race? Like, where are we anyway in the constructors?
Logan got 18, Josh got fastest lap, you got 28. Wait, hang on. 13, 15, 28, 10. You were 8 points behind McLaren, you gained 10 on them. You and Josh are now leading the Constructors' Championship by 2 points. Congratulations. I think that's the first time since Bahrain they lead the Constructors. So, I'll tell you back at it.
Me and Josh to step our game up. Mostly
Yep.
me.
We've just passed the third of the way mark of the season, so 2/3 to go. Anyway, congratulations. On to P2. It's a gutted P2, but it's an important P2 for Logan. Logan, how was that race?
It's bittersweet, this, I can't lie, because I was expecting to be in the wall, but sadly I didn't have enough time to do enough practice, and I couldn't get to grips with the track, so I just had to change my traction. So I became a fraud today, but I changed my traction and it worked. I started on medium, and then I was just losing so much time to all the guys on full traction, and obviously when you're fighting for a championship, I need to be around the same pace consistently, and the only way that was going to happen today was being on full traction control. But otherwise, my pace was solid in the end, and I'm disappointed I couldn't win because honestly, I got the strategy right and I got lucky with the safety car on.
You did indeed. You had really good ERS management. The other 4 around you in the train had, I think if you added all of theirs up at one point and doubled it, it still wouldn't have been as how much you had. So
I had to
brilliant ERS.
I burned my ERS to try to catch him. So
when Seb took the lead, he was on like 40. I looked once again, he's on 6.
Hey,
like,
no. Let me quote Logan here. Try to pull a second gap, Seb. That's what he said.
Yes, I know what you were trying to do. And then
I did.
Sin
I said
had
pull a second so I can get him. That's what I said.
Sin had his ups and downs, but yeah, Seb is obviously lost out 3 points to Logan today, but yeah, you're bringing yourself right back in, as is Callum, and this championship is getting closer and closer. It was 9 people fighting. You may have to pick a few off, but the others who remain get closer and closer. And yeah, just 2 points in the constructors separates at the moment. Well done on P2, Logan. as you are the first driver into triple digits in the World Championship, over 100 points. So you are leading proud, and considering your closest competitor before today, Eggy, finished down in 9th or 10th, that means I think Hewitt now goes into P2.
Speaking
So
of
you versus
things,
Hewitt.
that's that's over 100. My 100th race in Tier 2.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was your 99th.
No, it's next race.
Oh no, I thought you meant today was your 100th.
No.
No.
So that's why we're all here next week. Everyone's here to watch me and me only put it in a wall.
So race 99 today, the Canadian Grand Prix for Seb. Race 100. Tune in 1 week from now for the Austrian Grand Prix to watch X3BD V1 become EXFL Tier 2's first Centurion. And yeah, hopefully, well, I hope you win, but
Someone put a montage. Someone get a montage.
The wall may not be
moments.
Too bad of an option. Anyway, well done on second.
Get a
Logan.
montage
Well
of
done
my
on third,
2
Seb.
wins and 2 poles. Someone quickly edit that. It won't take 2 seconds.
All I'm saying is, right, today as well, I got done by my own strat. Don't get pens, win races.
I noticed at the restart, you, Callum, and also who was it at the back? Someone at the back. Carlos Blanc, I think. No, whatever. You two, Logan and Callum both had 2 warnings, so it was going to pretty much be between you two. And for most of the last few laps after Logan got his pen, it looked like Logan was going to win it until those last couple laps when was Josh, because I know his sauce were dying. Was Josh just holding you up a bit too much?
Do you know what? I blasted my tyres at the start of the stint. I did not give 2 fucks about making them live. I was taking every line I possibly could properly. I was going to limits that I've never been to before. It was quite like all on the limit. I got my warning, and considering that it took me about 20 odd laps to get my last warning, I mean, yeah.
Well, now we head to Austria, where for you two, it's a very special track. Obviously, like I said, it's going to be Seb's 100th Grand Prix, and it's the race where Logan won at last season. So, in full wet conditions. So you never know.
Let's do the double.
Another race where a lot of penalties. Another race where a lot of penalties are going to decide a lot, and then the week after, your home Grand Prix, the British Grand Prix, one of the biggest events of the season.
I'm going to put Logan in a wall.
That'll closely mark the halfway point of the season. But for now, that's been the Canadian Grand Prix. Much more exciting than a lot thought it would be.
Hey.
I've been F1 Union, the main commentator. Well done to Logan on second and Seb on third. And Callum on his first proper win. He redeemed himself from Monaco, and he's brought himself right back into this championship.